So, we're excited to share with you today, our listeners, about this adventure we've been on for the last year, and it's creating another cookbook. And we wanted to share a couple of things early on of things that we've learned about recipes, about developing recipes, about cooking that we didn't know, preparing. And before we get started, we just wanted to share our last cookbook. Second edition is called Nourish, a community supported cookbook. And we still love and adore this cookbook. And I don't know about you, Debbie, do you still cook from our own cookbook?
I do. I mean, the recipes that I put in there, I put in there because I cook them. But there are quite a few recipes that other people put in there, including you, that I absolutely love, like the 5-minute peanut sauce
Mm.
and the quinoa salad that's in there. There's a whole bunch of them, that the spicy stuffed dates. Um,
Oh, yeah.
so good. And
Yeah.
there's too many to name, but there are so many really great recipes in there.
There are some super repeats, and we just had a client say how much she adores the light and dark sauce.
Yeah.
And you and I have been playing with seared scallops, and I saw Doug's recipe in there from last time. And yeah, it's fun to peruse cookbooks. You and I both adore cookbooks. We
Yeah.
have many, many of them.
Too many.
And sometimes I go to my cookbook, sometimes I just go online. The New York Times is one of my favorite recipe go-tos, and I know you have a couple as well.
Yeah. Yeah. America's Test Kitchen is one of my go-tos. So both of us subscribe to them. It's worth our money. It's worth
Right.
the money to get really good recipes. So
Yeah.
yeah.
And we wrote the first cookbook because uh, when we cook in the kitchen, when we get our clients to get into the kitchen a little bit more, we just have better control over the ingredients. And so this is why we have a passion for investing all this time and energy in writing yet another cookbook. And we've partnered with someone who is a specialist. This is her training as a recipe tester and creator. And so one of the things we've observed in this process is that we've got 3 tasters and 3 sets of taste buds and 3 different ideas, and it's making for a richer cookbook. So we're excited about this next one.
That's right. And the thing is, you and I are both cooks. We're cooks. We've been cooking most of our lives. We enjoy to cook. We enjoy cooking, and we have our own backgrounds, our family culture of food, and that's what brought us together to make that first cookbook. But the one woman we're working with is a trained chef and recipe creator. And so she has all of that plus the training of being a creator of recipes and a chef. And so she's bringing in things we never knew or never considered before. So it's really, we've gotten so much out of this experience, and it's hardly even halfway done.
Yeah,
So
a year into the project.
yeah.
And it's funny, we're also finding egregious errors in our last cookbook, which kind of make us laugh and cringe at the same time. We still
Yeah.
subscribe to it. We still are peddling it, and we encourage you to buy it. You can buy it on Amazon or Bookshop is
Right.
another spot you can get
It's
it.
definitely a great cookbook, even though it's not the same kind of cookbook this one's going to be.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
one of the things that we have is such an appreciation now, especially for what goes into making a well-designed recipe.
Yes.
It's not just a matter of putting food together that tastes good. There's so much more that goes into it, like the New York Times or the America's Test Kitchen or any of those other very well-respected recipe places. We had no idea until now what goes into making those actual recipes and the ingredients that go in. So big lesson for us.
Yeah, big lesson. And they're the test kitchens and what goes behind it, it matters what kind of salt, it matters what kind of oil you're using. And to Debbie and I, it's just what do I have in the kitchen and throw it together. And that's fine and good. And getting a little bit more precise can make it that much more rich and yummy, and layers of tastes and forward things in your mouth, and just the pleasure of food. And it's definitely a theme of ours, is trying to get pleasure in the kitchen, pleasure with our food back again, and trying to not make it a stressful environment, making it a rich, beautiful, pleasurable environment.
Yeah, for sure. Yes. So one of the things on that I wanted to say was about the ingredients on recipes sometimes, and how I used to approach recipes that I would get online or in the cookbooks. If there was something in the ingredient list that I didn't care for, I would leave it out.
Yeah.
If it wasn't a major thing, it didn't seem like a major thing, obviously. But what I'm learning now is there's a very good reason for that thing to be in there, unless it says optional. There's a really good reason, and it usually comes down to chemistry. If you want to say that's really what it is,
Yeah.
and one of the examples I had is I tested. We're in the testing process, and I was testing a recipe earlier this week that had orange juice and orange zest in it, and I'm not crazy about that flavor in regular food. Like it was a chicken dish. And I'm not one, as you'll learn, that likes to mix my fruit and my savory. Like I generally don't like that.
Mhm.
Because I was testing the recipe, I had to make it very exact. I had to make it exactly how it was written. So of course the orange zest and the orange juice went into the chicken dish. Not only I didn't taste the orange, but the chicken dish was really good. And I know that orange juice and orange zest did something to that recipe to make it as good as it was. It added whatever it is, chemistry is, and I'm sure our recipe tester could tell us what it is. I just don't remember. Acid, whatever it is, all that stuff. But it really made a difference in the recipe, which would have been a good recipe had I not left it in. But it made the difference between a great recipe and a good recipe. And I think that's what I want to say. So don't leave out those ingredients.
Yeah. Yeah, so as we're talking about our cookbook, one of the things, we've got to have some very specific focus. We've got to be, what do I call it, non-procrastinators, because we're now in a very tight timeline for doing the testing and turning things around. And one of the things Debbie and I are both using is Magic Mind. Yeah.
My bottle's empty because I just did it, but yeah.
Mine's up next.
Yeah. The best thing about this, I'd have to say, well, not the best thing, but one of the best things about it is that it's a liquid shot. You take it as one shot, just like you would anything else that you
Right.
take as a shot. And I know I'm taking a handful of supplements, and it's like I don't want to add another pill to my regimen. And this has so many supplements in it that it's like takes care of so many, but it's got that's what I like about it, because it's tasty and it's a shot. It's so easy to do, and it's got vitamin B, D3, it's got ashwagandha, it's got matcha, it's got turmeric, it's got vitamin C, it's got a bunch of mushrooms in it, and a bunch of other stuff that I don't understand.
But it's helping us stay organized. It's helping us get clarity on our cookbook. And, I know that on the website too. And sometimes I take it because I often do my strength training in the morning. I'll take it post strength workout. And so there are some potential anti-inflammatory responses to that as well. So we like the company, we like the product. And if you're interested, head over to Magic Mind. And there is, if you type in Nourish 10, right?
Yep.
Nourish 10, you'll get a 10% off your first order. So, and it's just a product that we are enjoying and liking, and wanted to introduce it to you.
Magicmind.com. Just easy enough.
All right, let's get back to this cookbook.
Yeah.
And my example is, and I'm still kind of on the edge of testing this, so I've got to be full disclosure. I've bought it, but I haven't used it yet, which is nutmeg. That's an ingredient that goes in just a pinch goes in many dishes, and it really pops something or shifts something or brings something out. And in the recipes that we're developing, there's not a lot of it, but my story with nutmeg is that my dad doesn't like it. So I don't have it in the house and I haven't cooked with it just because I didn't grow up with it. And now I'm going to explore. So that is one of the ingredients for me that is just that's new, that's coming in that I'm going to play around with.
Yeah. So on that too, we have our pantries have expanded. Even the word pantry for us has expanded.
That's right.
Right. So, pantry is where you keep all the stuff that you can use in many different recipes over and over and over again. It's your spices, it's of course it's your staples that we always talked about, and we have lots of writings about blogs and podcasts where we talk about our staples. But it's the dressings, it's the spices, it's the
The
whatever.
pestos.
Right, that can be used in many different recipes. And so now we're learning to, it's how many times have we made a recipe where you use one thing and then you never use it again? And
Right.
what she's teaching us is, yeah, we can use it in this recipe, and you can use it in this recipe, and you can use it in this recipe. And these can be completely different recipes using the same one ingredient or the same pantry ingredient. So again, it's expanding our horizons about how to use things differently and not to waste. And we thought we were good about not wasting. We had no idea.
Well, one of those wasteful things, which goes to questioning our kitchen habits
Yeah.
is, that's the way I've always done it. And one of, for me, is throwing away that broth that's in the canned beans or boxed beans. I've always, most recipes say rinse,
Yep. Drain and rinse. Yep.
drain and rinse. And you can use that and enrich the flavor of dishes. And chickpeas, for example, you can take that and the word eludes me right now, but you can create meringues out of the chickpea dressing that's in that box. And so we're investigating and getting curious and questioning the habits that we have in the kitchen and some of the things that we've always done.
That's right. That's right. Yep. And lots of things like different parts of vegetables.
Right.
Broccoli stalks is one example. So many people throw them out, and they can be used in so many different ways. In fact, last week I used broccoli stalks because I didn't have celery, and I made myself some tuna fish salad, and I didn't have celery, so I used broccoli stalks that I had and the broccoli that I was going to cook later that night. That wasn't a part of the recipe itself because I was just going to use the flowers. And it was perfectly fine because it just needed the crunch. It's not really the flavor of the celery. And I put some celery salt in the tuna fish to make up for that. But there was the broccoli stalks. I've also used them for crudité, just raw broccoli stalks for that. I've used them in soups where I've cut them up, just like you would a carrot or anything else. I've used them. I've fermented them. There's so many different ways to use the scraps that we often just throw away or put in our compost bin. So.
Right. Right. So these are just a few of the learning, curious ideas that we're sharing with you. We're kind of teasing you, I think, with our next cookbook.
Yep.
It's, shall we say the name of the cookbook?
Yeah, because I think it's sticking. It's still sticking.
Yeah, Seasoned is the name of the cookbook, and it's about both seasoning our food with wonderful, pleasurable tastes and also cooking within the seasons. So when
And let's put a third one in there about us becoming seasoned cooks.
I like it. I like it. So stay tuned. And if you have ideas, we are welcoming our listeners' ideas. And if you want to share hate the word hack, but I'm going to use it anyway because I can't think of another one. If you have something you want to share about a way something new came into your kitchen, we'd love to hear from you. So please feel free to subscribe, join our Navigating Nourishment private Facebook group, and share with your friends and family.
Yeah, that's the best compliment you can do for us is to share our podcast with your friends and family, just to spread the word and get us more listeners. We'd love that. Oh, and by the way, our Magic Mind bottles that we have, for the labels pull off really easily. And then you have this cute little container that you can use, put salad dressing in, that you take to work for your
On the
salad.
go.
Yeah, on the go. It's perfect size for that. So great.
Love it.